I love the title of this one. This is Matt Gaetz went on Fox News. This will be my last one of the night. Because, thanks for hanging in there. It's Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Bless you. Thank you for being with me. Look at this. Altogether separate. Fox News is just fucking with these people. Gaetz, McCarthy has no ideology. He's a vessel for lobbyists. And that's Matt Gaetz's dream gig. That's what I want to do. That, drug a 17-year-old and fly her to Georgia and force her to fuck me if she wants a flight home. Or I'll just introduce her to some people that'll give her the spooky feeling that she might end up dead in a river. And, yeah. So, he voted for Trump twice, and then he went back to vote. He voted for Hearn last.
But we begin in the nation's capital, where the House adjourned late tonight without...
Right from the swamp. God damn it.
...electing a speaker for a second straight day.
Which in its own way is sort of like electing a speaker. If you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice.
Kevin Corke is live in D.C. with the very latest. Kevin, good evening.
Evening, Trace. 3 more failed votes today, and...
Well, I don't think they're failed votes. It's like Edison. We just found 3 more ways not to elect a speaker.
A round of closed-door talks to boot, and yet still...
Yes. Thank God there's some closed-door talks going on, because this is the transparency the Freedom Caucus is looking for.
Well, Congressman-elect Kevin McCarthy appears no closer to securing the House Speaker...
that's a good reminder that even Kevin McCarthy hasn't been sworn in.
Speakership. Of course, that is Speaker of the House, for those of you who haven't been watching.
The what? I'm sorry. Did anybody...
The battle does continue tomorrow at 12 noon, though he did...
Battle. It's not a battle. It's a tiff. A long-running tiff that results in someone in a very possibly a shallow grave.
Quip tonight. I think this is interesting. I crawl before I walk, before I run. A bit of optimism, perhaps, for Kevin McCarthy. We'll see if that is warranted. In all...
No, it actually wasn't.
All the defiant Californian...
Try again. McCarthy's still aiming for Speaker after 6...
Has now fallen...
12 now.
Short in 6, count of 6...
12
votes over 2 days as a group of 20 conservatives
12 over 3
who have deemed him ideologically unreliable, let's say, have refused to back him, leaving him...
I think we just hit the 11. They were going for the 12 and then they adjourned, right? I think that's...
short of the 218 votes needed to win the job.
Are you considering dropping out of being...
No, not at all.
Are you angry at the people who have caused the situation?
Not at all.
No. I'm not mad at anybody, and I'm not dropping out. I'm not moving, and they're not moving. So we're just going to keep doing this until somebody else comes up with some way for me to get out or them to get out. And since no one gives a shit, and the Democrats won't help me, they won't help me. Why won't they help me? Help myself. I'm trying to... I sent staff over I sent them pizza. Sure, it was cold.
I think it's productive.
We can't have a
Do ya?
situation where 20 members hold 202 members
Too late.
hostage and our agenda hostage. We were elected as well. And this is turning into a blackmail situation.
Yeah, it's been that way, and it's going to stay that way.
Meanwhile, recalcitrant GOP insurgents say it's McCarthy who needs to step aside.
Even having my favorite president call us and tell us we need to knock this off, I think it actually needs to be reversed. The president needs to tell Kevin McCarthy that, sir, you do not have the votes, and it's...
By the way, look at Kat Macaque or whatever she is, Kat Kamarack or whatever, who was like the one who was accusing Dems of drinking on the floor, staring at her, giving her the skinny bitch.
time to withdraw.
Speaking of former President Trump, he said this in a statement: I think it's a dangerous game, and frankly, if they're not happy with him, they can do something about it at a later date.
No, they can't if he doesn't give them the ability to kick him to the curb.
He added this: I support Kevin McCarthy, and I support getting the deal done. What I don't support is allowing this to continue onward.
Yeah, you don't have a say, dummy. By the way, nice nunt. Ugh.
And while the battle, as mentioned, rages on tomorrow, it is also important to note that as long as this all continues, committees can't hire staff because there are no committee chairs and no ranking members, which has led some Democrats to call this a crisis of the Congress. Others, frankly, Trace, feel like this is all good stuff. It's just
It's all good. It's all good.
battle as it should be here in the nation's capital.
Yeah, I hear both sides. Kevin Corke, thank you. Let's bring in Florida Republican Congressman-elect Matt Gaetz. Congressman,
And big boy spokesperson.
thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, no problem. There's nobody that I can, it's school night, so I wasn't busy.
Kevin McCarthy tonight did not want to hold a vote in the House because he believes he might be getting closer. Do you think that's a fair assessment?
Well, there's a reason Kevin McCarthy doesn't want to continue having votes, and it's because with each vote, he seems to be decreasing in his vote share, and we've only increased with votes in our vote share in opposition to Kevin McCarthy. We suspect that that trend is likely to continue, and I think this ends one of two ways, Trace. Either Kevin bows out, realizing there's no path for him to become Speaker of the House,
And they have the same fight over someone else,
even if he picks up
because they will.
1 or 2 or 3 or 5 of the 20 who have opposed him half dozen times on the floor, or he essentially has to wake up, bring the House into session and put on a straitjacket with a rules package that we've presented to him that doesn't allow a lot of discretion for the Speaker of the House. The reason we've
Wow. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't sign on to that. This motherfucker wants to put you in a straitjacket and basically limit what you can do as Speaker. That's hilarious. Yeah, I don't know why he keeps saying no.
demanded that is that we do not trust Kevin McCarthy.
And he doesn't trust you.
And it's not a small body of work. The guy's been in leadership in Washington, D.C. for 14 years.
And you guys engaged in a fucking insurrection 2 years ago and are completely untrustworthy and have no serious interest in governing.
And this town needs to change, and we're going to change it one way or the other, either by changing out the Speaker
Or leaving.
or by having the most fundamental rewrite of the rules in really my lifetime.
There seems to be a lot of confusion, though, about exactly what this group of 20 wants. You say rules changes. A lot of people have said a lot of different things. Is there something specific, Congressman, that you want that would gain?
Yeah, but bringing back 16-year-old pages in Catholic schoolgirl outfits was a non-starter. So I just didn't think I'd bring it up.
Your vote to Kevin McCarthy if that thing was fulfilled?
Well, I'm not voting for Kevin McCarthy, but there are some of the 20 who I suspect might if we got control of the Rules Committee and the Appropriations Committee in the hands of...
By the way, keep in mind, he and Boebert and Gosar and who else? Perry and one other are negotiating that they would, if they got everything they wanted, they're still not going to vote for him. Because he'll be able to, like, I guess, call for a vote anyways. And if any one of them were sick or away or unavailable, he could do an end run around it. He could call something to the floor where he only need, in regular order and just only needs like a few votes to pass something on, change the rules instantly. They don't trust him not to do it, and I wouldn't know why he wouldn't insist on doing it as soon as they left the fucking building.
The folks that don't vote for bad rules and bad appropriations bills. Remember, before this last omnibus, Kevin McCarthy was paving the way for some of the worst legislation driving...
Somebody just yell, "Fuck off, Matt," in the background.
...our country. These are folks... Well, I'm not voting for Kevin McCarthy, but there are some of the 20 who I suspect might if we got control of the Rules Committee and the Appropriations Committee in the hands of folks that don't vote for bad rules and bad appropriations bills. Remember, before this last omnibus, Kevin McCarthy was paving the way for some of the worst legislation, driving our country deeper into debt and borrowing against the futures of the next generation. And so if we got control...
Yeah, which during the Trump years raised the national debt $7 trillion.
Of those key committees in the hands of...
Biden lowers the deficit 2 years in a row.
conservatives. I think there are some of the 20 who might vote for Kevin McCarthy. If things stand as they are, I would suspect that the opposition will only grow.
Yeah, you've got people like former Congressman Trey Gowdy, who said he called this opposition a clown show on national television. The former Speaker.
And he likes that.
Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, has said that you are holding the House hostage. What is your response?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. It's not that I'm holding it hostage. It's that I've gotten it out of state and away from its parents, and it's on drugs and it's in a hotel room, and I've cut all the phone cords. It's more like that.
Response to that type of criticism.
Well, Trey Gowdy would know something about.
By the way, I keep anytime I talk like Matt Gaetz, I gross myself out.
Clown shows. That's probably how a lot of us would categorize the Benghazi hearings that resulted in people screaming at each other in a big report, but no real accountability. I remember the Trey Gowdy who went on your network as a congressman and said that he'd reviewed what had gone on with the FBI and the Department of Justice, and that they had done nothing wrong, and that actually the American people would be happy of what they were looking at with President Trump. We now, of course, know that to be false, and even Trey Gowdy has expressed regret about that. So I don't exactly take a lot of armchair.
Again, there will not be enough popcorn for 2023.
Quarterbacking from someone who, during his time in Congress, wasn't among the fighters.
Yes, Trey Gowdy, not a fighter. Put him in the not a fighter category.
Representative.
But looks like a villain from Harry Potter category. He also fits in, so I don't know.
Elect Mike Lawler said the following. Listen, and I'll get your response.
The people who are voting against Kevin McCarthy in the Republican conference are aiding Joe Biden, aiding Hakeem Jeffries, and aiding Chuck Schumer.
Ouch. And they're a bunch of weak-kneed bitches.
How can you come together and
with somebody who talks like that? Did you hear what he said about you? How do you side with a person like that? Right? I mean, I just not sound. Don't ask. I mean, it's not for me to say, but it just doesn't sound like something a friend would say about another friend. I mean, it just. You said it wasn't personal. It sounds kind of personal. I'm just. How do you ever work with a person like that ever again?
Do what you promised the American people you would do as Republicans after this kind of chaotic House speakership vote?
Well, I think the world of Mike Lawler. He's a terrific representative, and he's going to do a great job for the people of New York. But I wouldn't exactly call this like insurmountable chaos. Keep in mind, Trace, I mean, I
do chaos for a living.
Days in the United States Congress where the only vote that happens is to rename one post office.
Right. And Chip Roy wants every senator or every House representative to have to be in the building to do a fucking voice vote on all of those bills. That's what he wants. That's one of his big holdouts. That everybody has to be there for all those fucking votes. So basically that means nobody goes home. Ever. The whole year. They don't go see constituents. They don't work in their districts. They just stay in D.C. year-round. Now, why would you want to stay in D.C. year-round if you, A, fucking hate the place and think it's a toxic environment and yada yada, and everything you do is useless and it's a waste of taxpayer funds? I'll tell you one reason. K Street. So you don't have to, go home and yammer with your fucking annoying constituents who want shit. You could just fucking wine and dine with the lobbyists.
So if we could do that for a day, if there are days where all we vote on are how we are going to take the next vote, then maybe taking 2 or 3 days or several weeks to select the person who is second in line to the presidency is worth our debate,
third,
and deliberation. And after that,
the line starts at the president.
Absolutely, we will come together. I have every confidence that we'll be able to come together, and we'll actually be an effective fighting force.
No, you won't. No. You guys got really personal, and there's a lot of like traitor, fuck you, traitor shit going on, and there might be some glad handing, but it's personal. Yeah. MTG is gone, and she's never coming back. And she knows how to make a pipe bomb, allegedly. Allegedly. I know she knows how to pretend to fire a high-powered rifle. I've seen her pretend to do that.
If we're able to get...
if I were you, I would not get into a Prius anytime soon.
Get rid of Kevin McCarthy and get somebody like a Jim Jordan, a Byron Donalds in that...
the other people who can't get to 218.
Speaker's chair.
Or don't want the job at all.
And what do you say to those who say, why is this group of 20 so convinced that they should be listened to and that they should control the narrative and the process when 202 other GOP House members believe in a totally different way?
Because we're awesome and they're the mayor of Sucktown.
Well, Trace, I have to correct you there. It's only 201 now. You're referencing an earlier vote for Kevin McCarthy, but actually Congresswoman Victoria Spartz voted present. So again, his number continues to drop, may end up under 200 tomorrow. We're not trying to dictate terms. We represent our constituents.
No, they're specifically trying to dictate terms. None of their constituents sent them to Washington to change the rules committee or get on a committee ahead of other people.
Look, part of the groupthink of Washington, D.C. is you come here and you've just got to give the lobbyists your vote card and the leadership your calendar and everything will be okay. Kevin McCarthy has no ideology.
And you have no committee.
Even his own supporters would admit that in private. He is simply a vessel through which lobbyists and special interests operate. So,
yeah, he'll be able to work across the aisle. Yeah. There's definitely, there's a bridge to be made with all the people who voted for him repeatedly and you. Sure. Like, you're one of the guys, you voted for McCarthy, right? That vessel for lobbyist interests or whatever. So you're one of them, are you? Yeah.
It's not that we're not being team players. It's just that.
It's just that we're not on that team. We're on a smaller team. We're just, just enough of us to blow the whole thing up.
My team are the people in Florida who sent me here to fight for them. My team is not the assembly of groupthink that occurs inside the swamp. We got to drain this swamp. We shouldn't put one of the alligators in charge.
He said that like he thinks that's a slam. He said that a bunch of times. Even mailed it out in a fundraiser. Excuse me. That is incredibly fucking stupid. Because, I don't care about Kevin McCarthy. I couldn't give two shits. But he raised like $250 million to get assholes like him elected. Like, he did all the stuff to twist arms and raise funds and spread the money around so that they could get elected. If he's one of the alligators, you fucking need him.
And the voting begins again tomorrow at noon?
No. The session begins at noon. That doesn't mean the voting begins, because as soon as they get there, there's going to be 4 missing members. All of them are going to be McCarthy votes. Somebody's going to vote to adjourn, and presumably they're all 4 McCarthy votes. There's going to be a motion to adjourn, and the Democrats will have an easier time whipping no votes for that, and McCarthy will lose 4 votes. But those votes won't move anywhere else.
Congressman, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Yes, since you've got so much of it to give doing nothing. Fucking hell. You've been watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. As we go through all this stuff, I do want to say, and I'm going to bring up the chat because I love you guys. Hi, guys. Hi. Yeah, it's a game of laziness, totally. Friday, they only want to work till 1, no question. These folks, they're against the insurrectionist crowd has no interest in functioning government. And they believe that their main constituents, their base within the base, within an even smaller base in their area, which was their like primary guarantee voters in what's a solid red state, by the way. And this is the problem with deep red or deep blue seats, is that unless you make an effort to recognize what's going on outside of your district nationally for your party, you're gonna be high on your own fucking supply, and you're gonna think that this entrenched, loyal, psychotic base is reflected in the rest of the country, and it just fucking ain't. It's not. So, cheers, Gail. Thank you. But again, they believe this. They believe they're just, their audience of one is their MAGA constituents because they all want to be the next Trump. And to do that, they just got to be dug in assholes. They've got to be dug in. Jesse Ventura for speaker. I could do that. I was the governor of Minnesota as an independent. I could pull it off if you asked me to. We saw Gaetz' interview on TYT. Yeah, well, that's interestingly enough, TYT and that ilk, that crowd. And by the way, Jimmy Dore was bragging about that he thinks this is what the squad should have done, which, by the way, is not amounting to the Freedom Caucasians getting what they want. It's not. They're not going to get those rules changes. That's the game of chicken, and they're going to fucking lose. And so he's wrong and whatever. But there's this belief of that if we can't get everything, nobody gets anything. And that has been the TYT, legislative theory for a long fucking time. And it's 100% where Jimmy Dore pretends to be. Although I think he's a disingenuous bullshit artist. But where he alleges to be from is that theory. They both serve in this thing. And by the way, the whole thing about TYT allegedly being on the side of Democrats or telling people to vote for Hillary in the last few weeks, it's the same problem that you're seeing with the hardliners in the Republican Party. Because when you talk that ill about your members of your own party or members of your own side that you consider evil, and you describe them as such long enough where you get entrenched, you can never dial back from that. You can never pull back. Because if you do, your own followers turn on you. Your own followers think you're full of shit and you've been lying to them this whole time. So that's why the whole comedy element of my colleague from across the aisle. It's why they have to talk like that. And it's why the rules are that you have to address the presiding officer or the president of the Senate, because instead of talking shit about people over there, because eventually you might have to work with them. And if you go across that line, there ain't no coming back. This is the really real world. And that's a huge issue with where they are right now. It really is. This is a huge issue with the Republicans currently. Because words have been said in this shit that we've been watching, and you guys have seen it, that it's just, they cross the line, and they're never going to trust each other again. It's personal. They don't give a fuck. And yeah, they're done. They're fucking done. Boebert and MTG were never really friends. Were really never really on each other's side, but they had that illusion that they did. Now that ship is fucking sailed, and it's war over there. And I got to be completely honest, I don't care. This is what the dissolution. This is it's sort of like caring what happens to the Chinese people, but not giving a fuck what happens to the CCP, or caring what happens to the Russian people, but knowing that Putin's got to go, and that whole crowd that runs the place is not going to come to a good end, right? Same thing's kind of true. The Republicans, I can care about them even though I disagree, but if this is what MAGA looks like burning down, then that's how it's got to be. What did you think the collapse of the Republican Party was going to look like? It wasn't going to happen in one moment. All right, we'll see if Chip's around. You want to? Okay, fine. You want a cat? You want a cat? Is that how it's going to be? You want a cat before I leave? Fine, I'll be right back. was asleep. You okay, buddy? He's like, I was sleeping. And you really had to do that? You really had to pick me up? You really had to? Really? Really? Hi, buddy. How's your boy? How's my boy? He's my boy. He's a boy. Yeah. Yeah. Did you have a snack before? You got a little bit of a snack. He's so sleepy. He was so sleepy. You're a good boy? Yeah, he's a good boy. Oh, God. Cat breath. Cat breath. Oh, it's terrible. It's so terrible. Cat breath. Well, from Chip and our family to all of yours, happy third night of fucking Republican meltdown hell. And I'll see you guys tomorrow in the morning. And my show will start right as they come into session. So part of it will be whatever the fuck starts to happen, if at all. And I don't think anything. And we'll see if Chip wants to visit. Or I don't know how we even proceed with this stupid stalemate. I will say that I'm counting on Republicans. You see, everybody's saying Chip in the chat room. You can see it. He's like watching the chat go up. That's him. Yeah, they're saying hi, Chip. They're saying hi, buddy. They're saying you're a good boy. They're saying you're a handsome man. That's what they're saying. The nice thing is the Republicans are just gonna be printing comedy for us the next few days. Even if they ditch out tomorrow, they'll race to a microphone and defend themselves. They're not going into fucking real conference. You don't think they're actually gonna work this shit out, do you? That's adorable. Anyways, I love you guys. Thank you guys for joining me. Chip loves you. And he's a big belly. He's a big boy. And he needs to go back to sleep. He's a sleepy boy. He's clinging to my hands. He's like, yeah, it's a good belly rub. It's a good belly rub. He's very warm and squishy. Okay, love you guys. See you tomorrow.